Hi, this is Adamu from Nigeria Freedom Radio. I am not sure where you are at as to what government is and why that is even important. But I thank you for listening. If you don't know what government is and why that is important, this message is particularly for you. And just for the record, if you later find out you actually do not know what government is, but find out from listening to my podcast, I hope you take the message forward. I really hope you act on it, because it is serious. Do you think killing is a serious issue? Murder is serious? I absolutely think murder is serious. So therefore, if you think murder is serious, I urge you to take this message forward. And I don't mean my podcast. I meant tell others, spread the message so that others will know. Because I think most people do not know what government is. To be honest, I do not think people are these evil villains that are plotting to kill their neighbors using government. I absolutely do not think so. I think though there are people that want to get into power just so they can avenge others. We have seen it in Africa during tribal killings, and everybody wants to get into power just to exterminate other tribes. So that's totally possible. But I think majority of people are not evil. The fact that they support government, they are doing so blindly. So please take this message forward. It is that important. If you believe that murder is important, should not happen, then be a freedom advocate, spread the message. So, my plan is to tell you what government is and why that message is important. And I want to start from the latter. So why is me telling you or trying to tell you what government is important? Well, the reason why I think so is if we want to increase the peaceful existence of humanity. So humanity is relatively peaceful than say 100 years ago, for example. So if we want to continue that trend at an accelerated rate, then this message is for you if you think humanity needs that. If you think humanity needs to prosper, if you do not like seeing people constantly dying in an attempt to go to some other countries. We have seen African migrants risking their lives, crossing the Mediterranean Sea and dying like nothing. If you care about that, this message is for you. So really, the essence of knowing what government is should lead us to bring more peace to the world and more prosperity to the world. Because peace and prosperity are the ultimate panacea, remedy to people enjoying their lives. Now, so that's why this is important. We need peace, we need prosperity. And that's why when we know the nature of government, we know what the consequences of the nature of government, what is causing, then we can control it. Because government is our creator. We created government. People created it. Well, why? For example, in the US here, you have the federal constitution, right? You have the state constitutions. People came together and formed it, right? And actually today is July 4th. So it is the United States is celebrating her people. United States people are celebrating their independence today. So people form government. We created it. It's like you creating something imaginary. That's what government is. Government is not a physical object where you can touch, you can see. No. It's just something that we come up with. It's a concept. Just like, for example, you would create a concept called blah blah and say that concept should have these laws. It is concept. You can't see it. It is people that actually exist. So we created this concept and we call it government. So it is people that created government. So in essence, we kind of have control over it, right? You've created a concept and you apply it to something. So blah, blah, blah. And it has a book. Say, for example, blah, blah, blah is your concept. It has a constitution. And the constitution says, I will go for a morning walk every day. In the morning. Obviously in the morning. In the evening, I will eat, go to sleep. So that is the constitution of your blah blah concept. If you want to stop it, you can. You just need to not do that. In the case of a country, you need to not support anything government. So if politicians say we need this, you're like no, and you would continue to advocate for reduction in the size of government, either through your voting, through educating others. So just reducing the size of government, really. Ideally to zero. So, anyway, so it's a concept. We created it. So that's why we have considerable control. But you have to do it with others. You can't just stop government on your own. People have to vote on it. More people have to vote no to abolish it or things like that. So you can see why that would be difficult, right? Why you should, if you like what the value you gain from this podcast, pass it on. The more people know, the more numbers, and hopefully that will show up in the votes. So you have a little bit of control over what government is. So what is government? Like I said, it is a concept. But really, to summarize what government is it's an immoral entity, which means is an entity, is a concept that will create, but the way it does its operations is through force. So that's why it's immoral. We created this concept, we call it government, and the way it operates is by compulsion. So by violence. That's what government is. Well, why is he violence? How does he do that violently? Okay, well, take for example. Let's say some politician brings an idea of public education. He says he thinks people should pay for public education. Now, let's say that is put to a vote. People come vote on it. After the vote, the majority supported public education, and then the minority did not. So that means that particular project will become the law. That's how government works, right? So you are following. Let's say you said yes and I say no. Okay? I'm in the minority and the majority, so you won. So of course, public education, that means all of us need to pay for the public education. So of course, you would pay and I would pay, even though I said no. This is really important to understand. I said no, I do not want public education. But because the majority voted yes, I have to pay. If I don't, I literally die. That is the worst, the lesser evil of how government operates is I get sent to jail. Or I can conform, obey, and nothing happens to me. So I can either conform, obey, and say, okay, I'll pay so that I don't get killed. So I'm basically a slave. Or, I'll go to jail. Or if the policeman comes to my door to collect the money and I don't pay, they will try to take my property, right? If I resist, try to protect my property, like, hey, get out, don't take my property, they will kill me. They will literally shoot me. Imagine a criminal comes to your house and you can defend yourself. Your property, right? You are a property of yourself, or your house, your TV, your passport, all of those things. So if you try to protect, you try to shoot the criminal to get out, warn him to get out, all of these, you will do anything to protect yourself and your property. There's no difference. If the policeman comes in, they want to take my stuff, I try to protect myself, I will just die. Because the government is more powerful than me. I will die. They have so much weapons that I can't compete. I will die. So you just killed me by voting for public education. You caused my death. Now, public education might be good, but the consequences is my death for just disagreeing with you. I do not threaten your life or your property. I just disagreed with you that I don't like public education. But, so yeah, just disagreed. But you killed me. That's what government is. Literally, take anything government does. Not even, it could be a law, it could be just a regulation. It could be just a traffic regulation. Anything like speed light. Or all of these things, anything it does is obey or die. Obey or die. Be a slave or die. I just disagreed with you, and you use government to kill me or make me a slave. Now, just imagine if I would do that to you right now. Just imagine right now, this you are listening. Let's say you don't believe it, right? You finish listening, hopefully, I hope. Or even now, you can stop and say, you know what, I don't believe it. I don't believe any of what Adamu says. It doesn't make sense to me. Imagine me sending policemen to your door to get you killed. To either make you conform that, you have to believe by force, or you die. You didn't do anything to me. You literally did not violate any of my property. This podcast is free. I'm not charging you, so you're not taking my property. You can reproduce this, you can send it, you can do anything with this podcast. You absolutely have my permission. So you do not threaten me. You are not taking my property. You are just disagreeing with what I'm just saying. And I have you killed. Yeah. That's what it is. There's no difference. Literally, there's no difference. That's why in history, we have seen dictators literally kill their opponents. Idi Amin, a military dictator in Africa. I don't remember which country. Is it Rwanda? He would kill his opponents and eat their flesh. Um, that's basically how most people died and are dying. In Nigeria, for example, during the military regimes of Sani Abacha, we have seen a lot of people died. What is his name? Ken Saro-Wiwa, an activist in the Niger Delta. He was basically killed, and he was protesting. He was just organizing protest because of the pollution in Niger Delta. And the military government banned their activity. One day they came, they did the protest. He led the protest. The military came, they caught him, and eventually he died. They sent him to jail and died. So literally, government is a dictatorship. It's not. It has nothing to do with provision of public good. It is just a means where we bend people to our will. If you think public education is good for me, and I don't think it's good for me, it's easy. It's an easy fix. I don't send my kids, I don't pay. Maybe I can educate them myself, so maybe I can find some place to educate them. We achieve the same aim. But no, you want me to obey. It's the dictatorship. It's nothing to do with me educating my kids. I could do that in another way. So government is not about serving people. It's about enforcing our will on others. It's tyranny. It's rape. It's murder. It's stealing. It's theft. You name it. It's force. It's not consent. So that's what government is. I urge you to think through my arguments. If you find any loopholes, please let me know. And if you could convince me that I can't make those arguments and that our government is good, absolutely, I would change my opinion. I'm not here to impose my thoughts, my opinion on anyone. I'm here. I want to work with you to find the truth, to find how to reduce violence. And government is one of them. So if you think it's not, I'm not your enemy. Let's talk. We're all in together. But yeah, that's what government is. Anytime you support anything government does, you are telling anyone who doesn't agree with you that you kill them or make them your slave. That's it. That's what you're doing. So can you see how there's no peace? The system is designed not to foster peace. Because, of course, when you want to kill me for just disagreeing with you, come on, you're not looking for peace. Nobody who is looking for peace is wanting to kill you. Nobody. Nobody who is looking for peace is looking to make you conform. Nobody. That is not peace. That's why government alone has killed more people, more than tenfold. What? More than tenfold than just private murders. So it's not a peaceful, because it's not a peaceful concept. We need to come up with another concept. We need to find it. I'm not gonna tell you that I know it. Let's work together. Let's find it. How can we provide education without making others conform to our will, without violence? How can we provide roads without violence? How can we provide defense without violence? All of this there are books out there, there are articles out there that I've outlined. There are many ways that we could do this. But don't mistake using government just because you can't think of any. Don't mistake using government to look for peace. Look at the world wars. Who started? Do you think people, ordinary people started? Government did. Once you created that imaginary thing, it uses violence. It's like vampire. They suck blood to survive. Right? That's how government, they survive through violence. So we've seen wars, 2 world wars, we have seen civil wars. Oh boy. And that is just government alone, killing its own people and trying to kill others in other countries. This culture, this system also propagates violence. I swear to God. In Nigeria, for example, there's ethnic crisis all over. People at every ethnic group is trying to get into power to oppress the other. I tell you. And so what happens is if your ethnic group is in power and you are killing my ethnic group because we are very tribal, we see ourselves not as individuals but as tribes. If you are trying to kill my tribes, well, guess what? You may just have given me the little incentive that I just need to go out. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, no. I'm just saying the system absolutely corrupts. Well, actually, in most cases, you defend yourself or you die. Like we've seen the farmer herdsman crisis. Herdsmen will go in the middle of the night or in the morning, kill a bunch of people in a village. The farmers will stop Fulanis, kill them, kill their cows. We are teaching our children that talking will not get you anywhere. You have to use violence. That's literally what we are teaching our kids. So when there's crisis like this, people don't talk, we just fight. Unfortunately, that is sort of the culture in Africa in general. I have had the privilege of talking with Africans, and sometimes it's really difficult. They hear something, they don't try to talk to you to ask you why or things like that. They just start throwing insults at you. It's just vain and unfortunate. There's this friend of mine who actually recently said really bad stuff towards me because I support peace. He didn't attack my ideas, no criticism, just me. And if I was like him, I would have vented out, and that's how it will escalate into something else. That's how this kind of thing starts. There's no debate, just fight. So that's what the system teaches us. So that's one of the effects of the system. It propagates violence. Everybody. I mean, not everybody, but that's what we teach our children. Oh yeah, you want something? Just go into government and make people do it. That's how you get it. You don't talk, you don't try to convince them, no, you just use government. And one of the effects of the system is poverty, hunger, diseases, death. All of these. It's a terrible system. And that's why you will do a lot more good in helping people reduce the powers of government. You would uplift people more in poverty than anything else. Of course, it's hardest to do too, because you have to convince them. People don't know. Honestly, I think majority of the world do not know that government is evil. They just think government is this good thing. So those are what government is and its effect. It's really disastrous. Really, really disastrous. Being born in Nigeria, coming here to the US, I've seen the difference. The US obviously is not, it has government, so, but it's a lot more freer. If you find oil in the United States, it's your own, in private lands. In Nigeria, it's not. Here in the US, the police is decentralized, so it's closer to the people. Nigeria is not. So all of these, there's surmountable evidence that you can't argue with, that shows the more freer people are, the more prosperous and peaceful they become. It's unarguable. You can't argue with it. It's facts. You just have to read it. So it really works. This is a lot longer than I wanted to go. So I hope I have convinced you what government is, its effect. And if you care about the effects, and if you care that killing is bad, making others conform to what you think without threatening you, just disagreeing with you, then don't stop at anywhere. Pass the message. If you have any other questions, criticisms, please let me know. I really appreciate you listening. Thank you.